All right, these are the first steps you should be taking when you go to write a business plan. Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me. I write a lot of business plans in my professional life. I write them all the way for true startups, all the way to I do some work for my company, which is a $14 billion publicly traded company. And I write a lot of business plans for that company and for other entrepreneurs. And so today I want to talk to you about the first steps you should be taking when you write a business plan. It's not that you should jump right into writing that business plan. There's actually a process that I recommend, and I'm going to run you through that, and it's a 3-step process. Now, before I go into that process, the whole idea of a process when preparing a document is really important in the first place. Instead of just winging it, spilling out things that come out of your head, there's nothing wrong with that in terms of capturing ideas. But when you're trying to write a well-formed document, you're trying to tell the story of your plan of your business, it's really important that you follow a process in order to capture all the right details. And that's really what I'm sharing with you here. So the first thing I want you to think about when you're writing this business plan is, who the heck is the audience in the first place? When you write business plans, sometimes they're for investors, sometimes they're for lenders. So for example, if you're trying to get approved for a small business administration and SBA loan, you're often required to write a business plan if it's a brand new business. So your audience really matters, because the audience that you're writing the plan for will help you determine how you structure that business plan. All business plan structures are not created equal. There are some sections that you can find in templates on the internet that you won't need at all depending on the audience, versus there are some you may need to add depending on the audience. So understanding your audience that you're writing this plan for is really important. Most of the time, business plans are not sent to investors, at least not early on in the due diligence process. So you may not be writing that plan for them. It could be that the plan you're writing is for this business loan you're wanting to get, or it also could be that you're writing this business plan as an internal document to help operate your business and to share with key employees so that they understand where the business is going in the first place. So no matter who the audience is, the plan is going to look, or should look, a little bit different. So the first thing you got to do is stop and think through the audience that you are preparing this plan for. That will shape the next step, which is step 2. And in it, I want you to think about the key questions and assumptions that you should be answering in that plan. Now, before I talk too much more about that, that's the whole point of this video. I have prepared for you a swipe file that you can download for free. It'll be in the comments below, and that file will share with you some of the key questions that I tend to answer in most business plans that I write. It's a nice, helpful document because it goes through the typical sections. So in marketing, it'll force you to think through some key questions. In the management section, it'll force you to think through some key sections. Section by section, I go through and I provide you some key questions and assumptions that you should be answering. The reason this is important when you write your business plan is, if you have thought those questions and assumptions through ahead of time, you can then research them ahead of time, right? And understand how you want to address those. So when I talk about assumptions, most business owners have assumptions that they're making when they write a business plan or when they come up with a business idea. So for example, one simple assumption could be that you're just assuming people are willing to pay you for your solution. Well, what if, as you prepare these key questions you're going to research and you go out and do that, you find that there's tons of free solutions out in the marketplace and there is no way anyone is going to pay you for your solution because there's too many free resources out there. So assumptions are really critical to address in your business plan. From a sales perspective, and the reason I'm bringing up sales is anytime if you're a salesperson at all, and just about anyone in business really should consider them a salesperson, it's helpful if you beat your audience to the objections they're going to have. This is also important when you're pitching to investors. If you beat them to the objections they're going to have or the questions they're going to have. So that's why in this second step, if you lay out all the key questions and you and you think about the key assumptions that you're making and how they might respond to those, you can then appropriately answer each of those questions and assumptions in your business plan. So we haven't even started writing yet. First, we've stopped and we've thought about the audience that's going to read this business plan, and then we start laying out the key questions and assumptions that need to be researched and answered in the business plan itself. And then the third step I want you to go through before you start to write your business plan is to put a bulleted list underneath each of those key questions. So it's not just as simple as how am I going to market my business? You'll see in this swipe file that I'm offering to you that I address all kinds of questions about marketing. Who is the target audience? What do they pay? All these different things you should be thinking about. So by the time you've started to prepare this document, this outline of your business plan, you'll have a lot of questions and assumptions that you should answer, and then bulleted detailed questions and assumptions underneath each one of those. And then what that outline does for you is it sets you up for success with your business plan. You then just take that information and start doing your research. And then as you do your research, you'll be able to fill in the gaps on those questions and assumptions. And then once all of that is prepared, when you sit down to write your business plan, you'll actually have most of the work completed and have thought through just about everything you need. Now, what I do find as I write, as I've been through this process and I do start my writing process, I generally have Pareto's principle, right? 80% of the content is covered, but I do then find that extra 20% that would really top off the business plan and make it better. As I'm writing about these things that I've prepared, it then forces me to ask other questions. So I'm sharing this with you because a process for writing a business plan is very, very important. You'll note that I'm not really alluding to, I'm telling you that there's a lot of research that you need to do on the front end before you start writing. The reason that's important is because a lot of founders and business owners have bias built into what they do. So I'm working with a couple of clients right now, and they have great ideas and deep thoughts about what they're trying to do, but there's some level of bias built into what they're trying to accomplish. By structuring this business plan, asking these key questions, challenging the assumptions, we make sure we strip out that bias so that when you get a document that's prepared to go to a lender or an investor or something like that, you have a really, really well prepared business plan. This process is critical for getting you started out on the right foot. I hope that information helps. Till next time, hope you find your voice. Have a great day.